Hello, everyone. First of all, let me welcome all our subscribers, old and new. It is a pleasure to report that our subscriber count has increased by 100% for the month of November. We are looking forward to this kind of increase on a daily or weekly basis as I continue to provide useful information for you. It is important to know how our body functions and the factors that affect our senses: seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling. As an organizational transformation specialist, trainer, coach, and counselor, I have to keep abreast of the factors that affect human behavior and performance. From time to time, I pursue and/or audit courses from Ivy League and other universities and colleges globally. After completing the World Business Executive Coaching Summit during the COVID-19 pandemic, in which we were reminded of and exposed to amazing content on coaching, behavioral science, human capital development, and neuroscience, I decided to audit a neuroscience course offered by Harvard. In these short videos, I will share some of what I learned and short clips from the course. We're looking first at the anatomy of the visual system. The visual system is a complex network of structures that work together to detect and interpret light, allowing us to perceive and understand the world around us. Now let's look at some key components of the visual system. The eye. The eye is a primary sensory organ responsible for detecting light. It consists of the cornea, lens, retina, and the optic nerve. The retina is the innermost layer of the eye, containing photoreceptors, rods, and cones that convert light into electrical signals. The optic nerve transmits visual information from the retina to the brain. The visual pathway includes the optic nerve, optic chiasm, optic tract, lateral geniculate nucleus, and visual cortex. Let's look at visual processing. First of all, light detection. Light enters the eye through the cornea and is focused onto the retina. How about signal transmission? Photoreceptors in the retina converts light into electrical signals which are transmitted to the optic nerve. How about brain processing, you may ask? The optic nerve sends signals to the brain where they are processed in the visual cortex, allowing us to perceive and interpret visual information. So what then are the brain regions involved? Let's do a summary. Primary visual cortex processes basic visual information, line orientation, color. The secondary visual cortex processes more complex visual information, such as shape and movement. The higher level visual areas are involved in object recognition, face perception, and spatial awareness. That is what allows us to be able to identify people we are familiar with when we see them, or if we're seeing them for the first time, to remember them when next we see them. That's the higher level visual areas responsibility. Let's look quickly at the video outlining what I've just shared with you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mohini Lakshman, lecturer in neurobiology, Harvard Medical School. The following is a general neuroanatomical overview of the visual pathway. The human eye generates an optical image of our surroundings and focuses that image on an array of approximately 125 million photoreceptors, rods and cones, that are located in the neural retina. The image is inverted and reversed by the lens. Light is received by the retinal photoreceptors located here in the retina of the eyeball, located posteriorly, where initial processing of the visual signal occurs. The information leaves the eye by way of the optic nerve, and there is a partial crossing of axons at the optic chiasm. After the optic chiasm, the axons are called the optic tract. The optic tract wraps around the midbrain to get to the thalamus and specifically to the lateral geniculate nucleus, important for visual perception, where these axons synapse. The lateral geniculate neuron axons fan out through the deep white matter of the brain as the optic radiations, which will ultimately travel to the primary visual cortex, V1, or the striate cortex. In addition, axons project to the tectum in the midbrain, where synapses also occur at the superior colliculus. These axons control pupillary light reflexes, and those that synapse in the hypothalamus are important for diurnal rhythms. In addition, visual information is sent to a number of visual association areas in the occipital, temporal, and parietal lobes. The striate cortex is involved in the initial cortical processing of all visual information necessary for visual perception.
This channel is about learning. It is my intention to download as much as I can into my subscribers, to teach you as much as I can from the studies that I have done over the years. Remember to like, subscribe, share the link, and come back to learn something new. Have an amazing day.